Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Networking and Connecting Our Schools, episode 2. We have Boston with us today, and we have the principal, the assistant principal there, and some amazing teachers, and even a student. I'm so excited for students to get in on this as he's waving. I love that. So I just want to give you kind of the background of why we are doing this and what the purpose is. So, and then we'll go ahead and I'm going to give you a quick YouTube tutorial, I guess, if you want to say, especially if you want to chat with us while we are live. And then we will turn it over to Boston as they talk to us about how they establish a positive, encouraging, motivating culture. And so, first off, networking and connecting our schools. I know that being in a classroom, I was so curious about what was happening in all the just within my building and then within all the other buildings in our county. And so the purpose of this is for us to be exposed to a little snippet of some great things that are going on within our county by highlighting schools and the type of instruction. It may be instructional, it may be cultural, just some great things going on within our district. And hopefully you will get some great ideas or things to try in your classroom or at your school. So in order to chat with us, the first thing you'll need to make sure is that you are in the Chrome browser. Please do not use Internet Explorer. You want to make sure that you're in the Chrome browser. When you're in the Chrome browser and you click on the YouTube link that I sent out yesterday and that I sent out in the Monday newsletter, you will make sure that you see your face or your sign in YouTube, not just in Chrome, but in YouTube. And in order to do that, you have to make sure, in order to chat, you have to make sure that you have a channel. Sorry, it took me a second. I was watching my live chat that I have going on over here. So you'll want to make sure that you have a channel. So the easiest way to do that is you click, once you sign into YouTube, you will click on your little circle that is in the top right-hand corner of your screen, and you'll click where it says channel, and then it will bring up a box that says create my channel. So everybody in Nelson County Schools has a YouTube channel. Just whether or not it's created is kind of depending on if you've clicked it before and actually created it. So in order to chat with us today, you will need to make sure that you are signed in and that you have created your channel. So throughout this time, I will kind of jump in if we have any questions for our Boston lovelies. And so feel free to comment, ask questions, anything like that in our chat room. So let's go ahead and we're going to turn it over to Dana Cole, which is the principal there at Boston School.
Good afternoon. I'm Dana Cole, and I'm principal at Boston School. And with me today, I have Megan Van Cleve. She teaches 6th and 7th grade, so she's a middle school teacher. And then we have Braden Mattingly. He's a student worker and just all around great guy. And we have my assistant principal, Mr. Josh DeVore, and 2nd grade teacher, Nikki King. And they're all here today to talk about what we do at our school to create a positive culture. Now, I will start by saying this is just my school and I love it. So people ask all the time what makes Boston wonderful, and it's really, really nice for us to have people who've come from other places and been elsewhere to be able to tell us and give us some feedback on what is it that makes the difference here. But I think we're very intentional about what we create. And one of the things that we do is we have an anti-bullying program, and we didn't start that because we thought we had a pervasive bullying problem. We specifically started that because we wanted to create a stronger, more family-like, unified culture. And so part of that program, or the biggest part of that program, is weekly class meetings. Well, instead of class meetings, we have branded those as family meetings. And those evolved. Last year was our first year. We started doing those on Wednesdays in the afternoon, and we just dedicated a time school-wide where we dropped everything, and every Wednesday from 3 to 3:30, every single class conducted class meetings. And we tagged in 2 adults into each class, so we had more student adult interaction, and we kept the same people all year long so they would be comfortable and be able to share things. Now, I don't want to talk all day long about what those look like. I'm going to let these folks share with you a little bit more about what family meetings look like, but I think they're a very integral part of what we do here. The evolution of that is that now we do those on Monday mornings in order to set the tone for the week. When we initially started our Wednesday family meetings, we also deemed Wednesdays family days, and we've continued that with, we don't send homework home on Wednesdays. We protect Wednesdays. Our families are so busy and students are involved in so many extracurricular activities that we wanted to give families time to connect with one another. So we don't assign homework on Wednesday nights to our students. The purpose is to have those family nights, and they evolve from the family meetings. We kept that, but we moved family meetings to Monday, set the tone for the week. And I'm gonna let you guys jump in and talk about what family meetings might look like.
For the family meetings, there's an outline book that we can use to help get the meetings started. Most of the meetings are student-led. If there is an issue going on within your grade level or within your class, the students are able to talk about those things. And we also have a suggestion box where students can anonymously leave a note in the box of something that they want to talk about if they don't want to bring it up in the meeting for everyone to know that it was them. And in the middle school level, that's, kids want to most of the time not say, I'm the one that want to talk about that. So that's what it looks like in the middle school.
And Ms. King can speak to elementary. We do the exact same structure, so.
Yeah, and I have the pleasure to work with Martina Amshoff, who's the special ed teacher in the classroom, and she leads those simply for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted her to continue to be established as a teacher in the classroom, but also I'm new to the district and new to the school, and so I kind of wanted to see from her kind of what we did with that. I did come from Jefferson County, and so we also we did Care for Kids, which is similar but different, and it's just a way to start the day. So it's been interesting to kind of take it 2 different ways, where the morning meetings that we have every single day is we do a check-in, go around the circle, temperature check 1 to 5, and then go into morning message, and then shares where students present something, ask for questions, and give feedback and things like that. And then the last one is an activity, a lot of times academic related. But so there's that piece, which I kept, but then with this, I'm able to retain, to keep something that's maybe even more like a teaching skill, or like today I had an incident with some of my girls aren't being kind. And so we are going to take our family meeting and move, Miss Amshoff will take the boys and I'll take the girls, and just really hone in on some things, and girl power and girls being nice to each other. And then the boys can talk about boy stuff. So it's like something that will foster our community and relationships within our community and things like that. But we're able to use it to help best fit our class, I guess, in tandem with other things that we've brought in from other places.
And I think one of the things that we are very committed to is that we realize we are not just teaching reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. I mean, that is a huge reason that we exist. But we are creating citizens. We're creating strong, productive individuals. So a lot of times those social skills can be barriers. The students are struggling with something, then they can be barriers. But I would love, do you have any thoughts, Braden, on how your family meetings run? How do you feel about having the opportunity to speak out in class?
Whenever I'm speaking out, I mean, it's easier to express. You have all your friends around. It's not just you and another person. You are with your whole class. You're telling everybody, so it's more people who help you out with your problems. You have teachers they're listening, so you're not just telling your best buddy about it and them trying to help you. So you have like, and then if you have like other problems and other people have kind of similar problems, other people can respond to their problems or respond to your problems and give you ideas on how to fix your problems. Or like whenever you're in a class with another person and everybody's like stumped on a problem, or you can give tips to other people saying you have like you can do like give them tips so they can have those for their life. And also, it's not just around the classroom. It'll help you, like Ms. Cole said, around the world. It's going to build citizens, help them and how to solve problems, not just get mad and stuff like that.
And sometimes you need an adult to guide you, and maybe an adult that's not your parent that may give you similar advice. Or really and truly, I feel like for the most part, you tell me your teachers listen a lot and just kind of guide and facilitate that conversation. And you guys get to have your voice. And I feel like that those meetings are tailored. There's curriculum, like Ms. Van Cleve said, there's curriculum, but we have the freedom to veer from that if we're struggling with an issue. If there's some stuff going on social media, I know that in the middle school that problem can be addressed in the family meeting. And there was an instance in the last year where one of our students had gone through a tragedy and lost a sibling. And the students wanted to talk about when he comes back, do we talk about it? Will that make him more sad? Or do we talk about it in the light of letting him know that we're here for him and we care? So they talked that out. I mean, and a lot of problems that are discussed are those that have no one right or wrong answer. They're social things.
One of the things I would say about Braden and his friends too is that hashtag problem solve, think critically. Those are phrases that they say all the time. Like I got to teach 5th grade science a lot this year. And do you want to talk about how you use that phrase and what that means and how you all work with that?
I wouldn't use those phrases if it wasn't for Miss Lancaster. So, problem solve all year. So those are the only reasons that the people from Miss Lancaster who has had Miss Lancaster previously use those phrases, problem solve, and those other phrases.
So you actually do it.
And it's not just about math or science or that kind of problem, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's social problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much that structure. And we have this is year 2 for us, and Katie has come in and they think we're a model school. We just think we're doing what we do. And so every year we look at how can we make this better, and we take feedback from people like Braden and our teachers and our staff, and because we always want to improve upon the processes and what we do and how we do that for our students. That is a huge part of the culture here because it gives everybody a voice. And I think that it also lends itself to our communication with one another. And one of the other things, and something that Braden's also heavily involved in, is we started with middle school students providing service within the school. And we did that for one reason, and it has had a huge positive impact in another area. We literally needed enough placement for them not to have classes with 40 and 50 kids in them and related arts. So we started a service rotation, and middle school students, literally, we have some that volunteer and work in the office on a rotating basis. And we have some that work in classrooms, tutor smaller, younger children. We have some that work with the custodian, but on a rotating basis, not every day, but it's on a 3-way rotating basis. And we looked up, and one thing that I realized was we're not a traditional elementary school because we're K-8, and in a traditional elementary school, our fifth graders would be the leaders within the building. They would have a few more opportunities. And so we started tagging in our 5th grade in the mornings and in the afternoon, and Braden has a couple of different jobs. Do you want to tell us what? He serves our school very well.
In the mornings, since I'm a teacher right here.
Because he's here a lot.
So we get to school a little bit early, so we can. So at our school, there's a few other people that get here early, and we just go out in the hallways and like make sure people are like on the third block and stuff, like making sure they're following the rules, not doing stuff crazy in the bathrooms. And so we just kind of keep it controlled there, not let anybody like. And if there's someone like talking, and normally we don't care really if they're just talking to each other, but if they're
As long
like,
as they're safe, right?
yeah, as long as they're safe. I mean, third block is one of the things that we talk about. No running, because that has a lot of results. And if other kids are like talking meanly to each other, we can also help with that. Like tell another teacher about that. And in the afternoons, I normally come into the office and like help answer Miss Amanda, help answer the phones. And sometimes, like on the announcements, I can like say like middle school sergeant Lancaster and Miss Murphy can go to the like buses.
Call somebody to the front if their parent
Yeah.
came to pick them up.
So-
And at the end of the day, things are crazy, and so that help is vital, and they're a vital part of the community and how it runs. And there was a point where we have students answer the phone. If Braden answers the phone, he will say service worker most often. If this is Braden, the service worker, so we know that whoever's on the other end doesn't blurt out confidential information. But I thought people are going to think we're crazy. We're letting students answer the phone, but do you know how many students need phone skills, because we don't have that anymore, and they're learning and growing, and they're getting better every day at those types of skills. And we have students that anticipate a need. Somebody came in to pick up a student, and boom, the worker was gone and back with that student before the secretary said, "Oh, you've already got him." Do they know what comes next? They know the inner workings of the office, and they're part of this is their school. And I don't know how you feel. Can you speak to how it feels to be a student here?
Well, whenever I work, I feel like I'm helping somebody. It makes me feel good that I'm helping, not just sitting around making them help me. I feel like I get more involved in school, so it's like I get to know people better.
And
Make
you are known.
friendship.
You are known.
Yeah, get known about school, and so it just makes me feel good that I have someone to help, and not just helping myself with siblings or them.
Yeah.
We're really close to them and make new friendships and stuff.
And you have, even I think across grade levels to some degree, with the other people that work with you, you probably have a closer bond with them. I think one other thing that we did intentionally here is when we looked at our schedule. Last year, our day went to 3:30, and teachers needed more time to collaborate in our contract day. I mean, they literally used every minute of the contract day. So now we facilitated a schedule that buys us another 30 minutes and give teachers more time without students, more contract time without students. It allows them one more PLC meeting on their own in their teams to do whatever it is they need to do. And it gives them a couple of days of duty, I think, but then they have two days where they just have that 30 minutes to do whatever they need. So we try very hard, and I think we're very intentional when we think about, because both Josh and I and Miss Hendricks, we've all been in the classroom, and none of us have forgotten what the stressors are there. So we try really hard to think, what can we do that makes their jobs easier, because we see ourselves as their support. And so we need to be intentional about how are we supporting them, and how are we creating a place that's not just a great place to learn, but a great place to work.
So I just want to jump in real quick. First of all, thank you for sharing out. And Braden, you have some fans on our live chat right now. Just want to give you a shout out, Miss Crow from Cox's Creek, Miss McGlone, and also Miss Hendricks. So congratulations for your shout outs. But you all are doing an awesome job telling us about your culture. So I have a couple questions that maybe you guys can go into more detail, a little bit more detail, or at least tell me like how you got there. So you have these things that are called family meetings. Why name them family meetings? Because, a lot of times schools will want to distinguish school is school and family's family. So you all obviously have put those two things together during this time, but just based on, hey, we're just going to have a discussion. We're just going to have, like a family would in a car at the kitchen table or wherever. So why call them family meetings? Is that your intention? Is to bring the family into school?
Well, honestly, we exist. We talk about this as a community. We also talk about ourselves as a family. But it's really funny that you say that, because in our K1 class, I think last year when we first introduced this, one of the students looked at their teacher and said, "You're not my family." And so we had conversations to further that we operate as if we are a family. We might not always get along, but we will work through it, and we will be kind, and we will solve our problems, because we are together. During the school year, more hours face to face than we are with our own families. Do you have anything to add? And we did that. That was an intentional branding, because we wanted to create that cozy family, safe, very safe. I see this all the time, and you can ask Mr. Dwar. We operate in loco parentis, and that is our legal responsibility. And we tell students all the time, we are here to care for you in place of your parents. If you are sick, we're going to take care of you until they walk through that door and take over. But we will have your back. We will care for you. We will take care of you. And that is a message that we're serious about, and we want to send very strongly, because it does create that safety.
Well, I think one of the things to remember too is that being a K-8 school, sometimes we have the same students for 9 years. So some of our students heading to Thomas Nelson this year, as they move on and get promoted in May, they've been a part of our family really for 9 years. And when you spend 9 years from 5 years old to 13 years old, that's a huge part of somebody's life. And so it's a responsibility we don't take lightly. And so I think the best news is that sometimes it literally is like an uncle or an aunt as your teacher that you've seen every day for 9 years, or sometimes the people that you really get irritated by are like brothers and sisters you've seen every day for 9 years. And so there's both some amazing benefits, and then sometimes every once in a while those little pricklies that come along with that too. But we're really proud of the fact that we are a family for that long.
And we do have that professional line that we have to draw. There's a point where, the conversation will turn to this. If you ask me what I think, I will tell you. However, your best counsel comes from your own family, so that it's your family values that any advice you get is filtered through. When it gets deeper than the basic how we treat one another, we obviously have to make sure that we draw those professional, teacher-student lines, because we are the figure that students look up to. And I think we do that fairly well. But we want them to feel safe. We want that safety feeling, because we are here to take care of them and protect students in all ways, emotionally and physically.
Right. And you brought up a really good point there. You said that it is a fine line. In my classroom, I always made sure that my kids felt the way that you all are making your kids in your school feel. But there was a fine line, and it was hard to manage that line and make sure that the kids knew that, I'm doing everything in your best interest. And so I commend your teachers for being able to find that line, because a lot of times it's either one way or the other. And instead of right there in that pocket of a positive culture. Do you have any, when we're talking about culture, I know that you all do family time, and you said that people also, or the fifth graders are doing service jobs. And then you also said, for your staff that you have built in some time for them to collaborate. As far as, and you don't have to go into a whole bunch of detail, but maybe the teachers want to share out, what do you all do for, I want to say like a reward system and does that affect your culture if you don't have one? What are your thoughts on that?
For teachers, We do right now. We're doing the positive. This is going to sound crazy, maybe, but maybe not. Like every week, we look at who had perfect attendance all week, and we draw and we give them a certificate. This is going to sound counterintuitive, but to leave early, like free pass, we cover your class, or we give you a free pass. So we're recognizing people that are making an extra effort. And I'll just tell you that on the week of the snow apocalypse, there were a few people who slid in here when nobody else could. And so we wanted to make sure that we were positive, and we put certificates that had like little coupons on them for those people. We're doing, you don't have them yet, but all students who had perfect attendance in the first quarter, we're doing attendance awards. We do, middle school does, I'm going to be quiet and let you tell what middle school does for really neat things, and talk about the Culture and Climate Committee too.
Okay.
Fun Fridays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do really cool things, and they do that in other grade levels, but middle school is very intentional.
We have Fun Fridays every 4.5 weeks for students. They have to have so many Boston Bucks, and they have to pay their way to go, whether they want to go to the social room, if they want to go to the gym. And we've been offering archery, and so they'll spend an hour doing those things. They have to pay for them, of course, with Boston Bucks. And then at the last hour, they do battle of the classes in the gym. So everybody gets together in the gym, and the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kind of compete to doing different games that the leadership committee has put together for them.
And those are students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
And so, and then they do dances too. And I think, like, as a 5th grader, Braden can say, like, you guys can watch that and be like, I can't wait to get there. You guys do dojo parties. It's a similar reward system. And then, what do you guys have?
We use the dojo point, and I guess I'm thinking this is something like Caught Being Good, like the positive behavior intervention systems and things like that. Just like the students who are consistently making good choices, that we recognize them as well, and things like that. So I personally have just been introduced to dojo, and I've heard of it before, but like I hadn't used it and stuff like that. And so when kids get so many dojos, they eat lunch in the classroom on Fridays, and then they get something else when they get 30. And then if they get so many, then they get to hold the snake, which is actually a preferred activity. I have a pet snake. And so just like different things like that to offer as incentives, but also just like, I see you consistently making good choices, and they know what it takes to make good choices. And they also know what unkind choices are, or what unsafe choices are. And so being held responsible for their behavior, but also being, somebody who maybe isn't making the super best grades and stuff like that, but then knowing like, hey, I still see you, and I still see you contributing to our community. And that's a very, very important thing.
I think to go with what Jamie was saying, maybe you two can talk about the staff culture. What do you think about our staff culture here? And is that kind of where you're going, Jamie?
Yeah. So keep going.
We offer staff lunches. So there's different, like the primary grades is one group, and then we have the middle grades is another group. And it's like every quarter, those teachers will bring in something for everyone to eat. And we've kind of dedicated the library as a place where all the teachers can get together to eat together on that lunch period. And so we do that every quarter. We also did a Christmas party in December, and we sent out a Google form to try to see what all the other teachers would prefer, whether they would prefer to go to a restaurant or go to someone's house, and how they wanted to do that. I wasn't able to attend this year.
She was busy having a baby.
Yeah. And then,
well, also, can I
Go ahead.
But one of my first days here, it was like maybe the second week or something. I don't know. It was one of the first days because there were so many snow days. But they brought around cookies and lemonade, and I was able to tell my kids, like, look, this is a kindness frank that they brought around for me just because I'm a teacher, just because they love me. And so it was like just a special sweet treat during the day. And I don't even know who brought it, some angel.
PTA actually is amazing. They come around with a cart of cookies and lemonade and sweet tea and things.
And that transpired because couple years ago, we tried to plan something once a month, and our PTA came along and said, "Let us pick that up for you." And so they bring like a wonderful. It is like a kindness card, just to appreciate teachers. We started calling it tea time in the beginning, and we had tea and lemonade and cookies. They have fruit. They have just blown us up with kindness. They are amazing.
They have
So-
cupcakes. I've seen this cupcake.
Oh, he gets the leftovers sometimes.
No.
I've made him pancakes before for all his work. Because prior to it being official, Braden has always been one of those students who I say, "Hey, can you help us out?" And he jumps in. And he has learned, I feel like he's learned a lot because you can literally say, "Can you go make an all call on the announcements and bring somebody, find somebody," and he will run. But last year, you're going to appreciate this, Miss Jamie. He was the Chrome Cart Patrol, and when he would literally get on the intercom and say, "We are missing number 3 and number 6. You better call the office right now, and I will come pick those up and plug them in." But he was very diligent. He had a partner, Enzy, and they made sure every day that those crumbs were taken care of and returned where they needed to be, and they were on the hunt. So he's grown into this role as a leader, and other people have joined him because Braden's made it really cool. We appreciate him, and I'm so glad that he was willing to talk today.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys so much for sharing so many great ideas. And I truly appreciate what you all are doing for your staff and for your students, because they are life lessons that a lot of times soft skills that the kids don't get at home. So kudos to you guys. And so thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and end our time today for the networking and connecting our schools. I did want to give you a heads up that we will be talking with Bloomfield Middle School on February 19th, and they're going to be talking to us about PBIS and ways that they have implemented those positive behaviors. So I'm really excited to be talking with them. So February 19th from 4 to 4:30, and you will get some more information, links and stuff for you to follow that conversation. So once again, thank you, Boston.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.